Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and in this week's vlog you will see my interview with Ferry Corsten about the Albion classic Air. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and very important, also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. And if you enjoy my interviews and you want to support Muzikxpress, you can do that via one of the links in the video description. Every donation is very much appreciated. Alright, here it is, the story behind Air by Albion, my interview with Ferry Corsten. Enjoy! Ferry Corsten is a Dutch DJ and producer who you might know from tracks under his own name Ferry Corsten, but he's also responsible for tracks under names such as System F, Gouryella, Veracocha, Pulp Victim, Ferr, Moonman, Cyber F, and lots of others. And another project from Ferry was Albion. In April 1997, the Albion track Reach for the Sky came out via Dutch label E Records. And on the B-side of the vinyl, you can find a track which is called Air. And that one became a big classic. For this week's vlog, I sat down with Ferry to ask him about the story behind Air. And of course, we also spoke about his brand new artist album, Connect, which is out now. We did record the interview one day before the release of the album. And since the last interview I did with Ferry was 2.5 years ago already, my first question to him was how he was doing.
I'm doing really good actually. It's been a long time in the studio, very stressful to get the album done, which is dropping tomorrow. Yeah, so finally.
Yeah, finally. How good. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about your new album Connect in just a bit. But first I want to ask you about the story behind the Albion track Air, which came out in April 1997. I'm not sure if most people know, but Air was actually the B-side of the Albion track Reach for the Sky. So since Air became the bigger hit, I wonder if you still remember what the A-side, Reach for the Sky, did sound like.
That's funny. When you came in, you mentioned it. I was like, yeah, I remember the title. I never knew Air was a B-side. So I really had to go, on Spotify. It wasn't even on Spotify. I had to go on YouTube to find it. I had to listen to it again, what it's like. And of course, then when I hear it again, I was like, yeah, of course that. But yeah, I totally forgot what that was about.
Yeah. It has a bit of Italo influences.
Yeah, during those days, 97, 96, when, for example, Moonman, Don't Be Afraid came out. That was also like my poor attempt to make an Italo dance sort of track. Same for this one.
Yeah.
So you can hear that type of vibe in there for sure. Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about Air and how that track came to be. Do you still remember when you started to work on Air?
Yeah, it was definitely. I do remember that it was sort of like with the mindset of like, okay, I need to just make something that's just chill. That's what I feel right now. So more like a dreamy type of thing, and it was a very minimal track. All I used was just a 909 here for just the beats, and then there's a solid bass that does the bass job, and a little arpeggiator thingy that gets a little bigger and over time. And I think the most memorable bits of Air are those big sort of type of stabs.
Yeah.
And I wanted something that was just like I said, dreamy, but very, very lush. And that was sort of my interpretation of something very lush and big and wide and open, and yeah, when you compare to today's lush and type of sound, it's very small, I guess. But back in the day, it was like, wow, this sound, and the track opens up with that, and yeah, I do definitely do remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So in the previous interviews we did about tracks such as Out of the Blue, Gouryella, Carte Blanche, etc. I know that you used the legendary Roland JP8000, but Air was made like early 1997 or maybe even 1996.
Yeah.
So what did you use for the sounds of Air?
I still have it there somewhere, do I? Yes. The FB01. No, it's not FB01. That's the one I borrowed. The DX100 by Yamaha. The Yamaha DX100 is this like a FM synthesis sort of synthesizer. It's like this big, and it's very well known for the little club organ. That's for example, "Show Me Love."
Oh yeah.
That's from there. But also for the solid bass, it's like the most overused bass sound in the 90s. So very big round sort of bass, very very user friendly. It you apply a solid bass to a track and it works.
Yeah.
So that's there, 909 for the drums, and right over here in the rack I have the XV 3080, but there's also I think an XV 1080 that's by Roland. And it's like one of those synth rack synths basically, and it's the big sound is from there, and a bunch of other little things that in that track just to dress it up came out of that. And then I have something that the little ARP I can't remember what that is, because I've been thinking about this for another reason we discuss in a minute, I'm sure. Because I wanted to know what that sound was. Because when the filter is closed, it sounds almost like a sine. But when the filter opens, it becomes a more synthy type of sound. And I can't figure out where I made that. In what synth I made that actually.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's been a while, and I think you did like 400 or 500 tracks and remixes. So I can imagine. You forget something. So so what software did you use for Air?
Cubase. I've always been a Cubase. Back in the day, I had Atari and with Cubase on it. So yeah, and I'm still on Cubase, right? PC. So yeah.
But I don't see an Atari.
No, there's no Atari.
So what was the most difficult part of the production, or was it just like an easy track to make?
I just think I made it in a few hours. Okay. It's just like had the idea, a little synth, the big steps, and that's sort of like okay. I have all the ingredients now. Let's start cooking.
Yeah.
And just arranging the track. Didn't really overthink it too much, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are usually the best tracks.
Those are usually the best. Like I think another example of a B2 would be Moonman Galaxia. And it's just those 4 chords. Whatever. That just made the track.
Yeah.
And
that became also the bigger hit.
Yeah. Funny now. Yeah.
So you released a track under the project name Albion. Is there a reason why you picked Albion as the name for the project?
I'm not really sure, honestly. I think I just came across it and I thought it was a nice word. But I think I later found out it was the old name for England.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
So I thought, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably why Platypus signed it like later, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the track came out in April 1997. This was all done pre-internet. So do you recall how you got the track to the label? Like, was it on a CDR or like a DAT tape?
I'm sure it was a DAT tape, as I did everything on DAT back in the day. To be honest, I have no idea, man. This goes really far back.
Yeah, because I don't think you had a manager back then, so I think you did everything yourself.
Yeah, I was always in touch with all the various labels that I was, dealing with. So it's very often when I had a bunch of tracks and put it on one DAT tape and rang the A&R manager there or there at that label. Do you have time? Yeah, sure, I'll swing by and go through some tracks and score. Yeah, they want to sign it.
Yeah. And now everybody sends their demo to like 15,000 A&R managers all around the world.
Yeah.
So the track came out via E-Records, which was a sub-label of Midtown Records. I have the impression that it was especially made for your tracks, because the previous releases were tracks also produced by you, Luna Live, and Bypass Siberia, which both came out in 1996.
Yeah.
So you remember if they made it especially for you, that label, or?
Well, now you mention it, that maybe there's a hint of that sort of here in the back of my head. But it was not my label or anything. But that's very possible. I mean, I remember very often when I went to, especially the Midtown labels, you know, for my sort of like gabber hardcore productions back in the day as well, with Paul Elstock, or yeah, some of the other labels. There was always the comment of like, yeah, I know you're trying to do this type of sound, but it's just not that. It's just different. It was always different, you know. Paul always said like, yeah, I know you're trying to make gabber or hardcore, but it's not. It's just too melodic for that. You know, that's always the comment that I got. So there's a big chance or possibility that Midtown said like, we don't have a real label for what Ferry does, but it's good. It's too good to let go. So yeah, there's a hint of that.
Yeah, might be. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the release on E Records, UK-based label Platypus licensed the track Air, so Not Reach for the Sky. That one came out in June 1998. After they released it, the track got picked up by names such as Anthony Papa and Paul van Dijk. Also John Dickweed and Paul Oakenfold, who put it both on their Global Underground compilations. So since it was still very early days for internet and since there was no social media yet, so did you get any feedback from Platypus about DJ support or?
Yeah, I did hear that that John Dickweed had put it on Global Underground. Yeah, and for me that was like, wow, you know, because there was, yeah, I mean, there was definitely a different sort of league, you know, that I definitely looked up to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, in the year 2000, Air got re-released again with a brand new remix made by yourself, plus also Oliver Leap and Hybrid remixed the track. So did you pick the remixers or was this something done by the label?
I think it was suggested by the label, actually, yeah. And I was already playing a lot of Oliver's stuff back in the day. So when they suggested Oliver Leap, I was like, okay, Oliver and that sound, that's gonna...
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Yeah. So, I recently played it in a back-to-back set with Armin and Ruben during a State of Trance. So it's
cool.
It's also in there. Yeah, because I picked it up again. Yeah, I came across it when I was going through all my files. I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ah, cool. So why has there never been a follow-up from Air?
You know what? I think when that whole thing happened, very soon after that, I started Tsunami Records, and really became sort of invested in like, okay, putting a lot of stuff on that label. And not too long after that, you know, System F Out of the Blue happened.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I've heard that became pretty big.
yeah, the rest is history. And so yeah, when Out of the Blue sort of blew up, you know, yeah, I kind of sort of like forgot all about Air and all those tracks before that. And yeah, I was more focusing on that until actually the remixes came out, and I started playing it again, the Oliver Lee remix in my set. Yeah, but that still was not the reason for me to say like, you know what, I'm gonna do another Air, because Air was with Midtown Records. It was not with what I was doing at the moment. Yeah.
Yes. So we're recording this interview in your beautiful studio, and it's exactly one day before the release of your brand new artist album Connect. So maybe just me, but one of the tracks on the album has some influences of Air. So I'm talking about the track Stay Awake, or is that just me?
No, that's not just you. That's actually very true. When I said earlier, like we'll probably get to that exactly. That's Stay Awake is sort of like the foundation of the track, you know, with the solid bass and the little very sort of like a mellow doo-doo-doo-doo there, and the big A steps is sort of like a hint or a wink to, you know, to Albion Air.
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So and that's sort of like the in a way almost like a reoccurring sort of thing throughout the album. There's a lot of winks back to the younger Ferry. Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, we mentioned one before the interview, but I'm not gonna say it, so people should find out.
Yeah.
So it's been 7 years after the release of your latest artist album Blueprint. So why did it take you so long to do like a new album?
After my last album Blueprint, there was a lot of stuff happening. I was moving house. Yeah, and what else? Obviously Corona happened. So the mindset was different. And when Corona, just before Corona, I came up with another album. Actually, technically, I did an album, which was Ferr.
Yeah.
The
below.
As above, so below. Yeah. So yeah, and then Corona, was just different mindset. I was not, the headspace wasn't filled with like album thoughts. Yeah. And then when I started touring again, and the idea of doing an album again, sort of was a little sort of like, it took a little longer for me to really get back on track of who is Ferry, what am I, what do I stand for, what type of music, because I have a big problem when it comes to music. I like everything and I like nothing at the same time. That's really hard sometimes. So, you know, and coming out of Corona, the changes in the scene were just going so wild. You know, one day it was this that I liked, the next day it was that I also liked, but I did not like, and I did not like that either. And then this came up, and this new sound came up. It's like, oh yeah, I like that. I hate that. You know. So it was really hard for me to get a sort of like a foot on the ground of where I was going to go with this album. And I had a few tracks right when this whole melodic sort of techno came out. So tracks like Mind Trip is definitely one of them. That's on the album. Connect is a track that has everything in it. So it's yeah, you can when I finally felt like, okay, this is my direction, I had to really go through some sort of trials and errors, and you know, what do I like, what is it I absolutely don't like, and I think you can actually feel and see that whole sort of search come through in the album in a way, and me finding that sound again when I at some point said, like, you know what, I know who I am again.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you've always been a very various producer. You did, like, you mentioned early like Gabber hardcore. I think you did some drum and bass stuff, and I think on this album there's like a lot of it's like from techno to progressive to trance. But I think it's more trancey compared to albums such as Weekend and Blueprint.
Yeah, and that's also because of the way we put this album out in the market. You know, with those older albums, I really made the album first, and then after, you know, when all the tracks were done, we released the album. And this time it was very, very different. The album basically was being built as we were releasing the singles, right? And there's something to say for that, you know. Yeah, it's not really an album. Yeah, in a way it is also, but at the same time, if you nowadays with all the like the Spotify's and Apple Musics and whatever, if you release an album, it's there all in one go. So the whole album, back in the day, you would just do a single, another single, release the album with the third single, and then maybe a fourth, fifth, sixth single off the album that has already been released. But now when you release an album, it's out there. The whole thing is out there on Spotify. Every track is already basically going to be all in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, the attention span from people is very short these days.
So it's almost like there's no point in releasing an album, like one single and then the album or so, and then because every track on the album is old, right there and then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we decided to do the other way around, release single to just give lifespan to each track, and then build a sort of a certain anticipation to, you know, you see the album grow basically. And now when it drops tomorrow, it's gonna be those tracks plus 2 or 3 unreleased tracks that are unreleased unto this point.
Yeah. You've been teasing new tracks for over a year already. I think some of my favorites are Remember, Chaos, Just Breathe and Fulfillment. So what are your own personal favorites? I know this is always like a difficult question.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Because every track, you know, that goes, a certain passion goes into that. I definitely like Stay Awake. There's something about that track that I really like. I think Total Eclipse has something dark that I really like. There's another track has not been released until tomorrow, and it's called Wish. That is definitely a track that that has that sort of trancey vibe that I really like. That's definitely a vibe from like, let's say, the turn of the century.
Yeah.
But my absolute favorite is Just Breathe. I personally love that track a lot because there's something so lush about that. And of course, I can't deny that I'm super in love with Remember.
Remember, I mean, like, yeah, I really hope this is going to be the tune of the year, because when I heard that, I was like, wow, this is like amazing.
Yeah, you know, everyone always talks about, you know, trance back in the day, you know. Well, this sounds like trance back in the day, produced today.
Yeah.
And that's why the name is Remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Connect contains collabs with names such as Marsh, Superstrings, Chris Howard, Tom Westy, and some others. So for the collabs, did you usually sit down in the studio with the collaborators, or was it like mostly done like online?
Yeah, it's mostly done online.
Yeah.
With Chris Howard, we've definitely been in the studio together. Yeah, most of the other ones actually, it's all online. Zoom calls here and there, you know, just because, yeah, when Mars is in the States or touring, and I'm also touring, and we need to fix something on the track, you know, it's just like a quick call away. But
that's why it took so long to release the album.
yeah. There was definitely you know, in between touring and also you know, waiting for all the other people involved to come back with what they were doing. Yeah.
So are there also tracks that didn't make it to the album which you might rework later for like something else?
Yeah, I mean, the track, the album has 15 tracks, and I think I definitely made up to like 25 or so.
Okay.
And so which is the good thing, because, you know, there's all that stuff is going to be released next year. It's not that those are bad tracks, but those are tracks that are just really awesome for festivals, in my sets, right? So club tracks, that's it. They're done. So save me a lot of work for next year.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the time this interview will be posted, the album is out already on Spotify and also on all download portals. But will it be released on CD and vinyl as well?
CD, I'm not really sure. I mean, I've seen CD again. Funny enough, you know, people show up in shows and show up there with like CDs. I'm like, are you still playing CDs? You know, yeah. You know, it's like, oh wow, okay. And I've been asking this, I've been getting this question like, hey, are you releasing this on CD? So I really never really thought of it, because CD was not a thing that I thought was happening. I know vinyl is happening.
Yeah.
You know, so there's definitely selected number of tracks going to be released on vinyl. That's for early next year. Yeah, but CD, I don't know yet.
Okay, well, we will see.
Yeah.
So now the Connected album is out. What are you working on right now?
Well, it's a big celebration of Gouryella next year, 25 years. And so it's a new Gouryella is almost done.
That was going to be like one of my questions.
Yeah. So that's almost done. It's just tweaking it here and there. But that's going to be the next one for like Gouryella 25.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is it going to be released around summer? I think like all the other Gouryellas were around May, June.
Yeah, we're always doing that. So maybe a little earlier. I'm not sure yet. But
okay.
Maybe hinting more towards April or so. I don't know.
Good. So do you still make like chill out music as Ferr?
Yes, I basically wanted to get the album out of the way. I did just one remix. I'm working on another remix and another collab. And once that's out of the way, and I'm finishing Gouryella, then I'm clearing the field for Ferr.
Nice.
Yeah, because I can't look for. That's just such a different thing. My head needs to be in the right sort of frame of mind, you know, right space, and I don't want to have like a 50 other project going on and then having to really zone out and get all zen and you know, dive into ambient world. So I just want to just chill out and
get everything out.
chill out, and get everything out of the way first. Yeah.
So you're active in the scene for a very long time already. You're responsible for plenty of amazing classics. You remixed big names such as Moby, Fateless, and U2. You did work together with Tiesto, Armin van Buuren, DT, Paul Oakenfold, Marcus Schulz, and tons of others. You were in the DJ Mag Top 100 for 25 years already. I think you're the only Dutch person that's this long in the DJ Mag Top 100.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, and you still perform all over the world almost every single weekend. But which of all your musical achievements are you the most proud of?
So, that's a really...
I like the Rotterdam, like the so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, man. I never really think about it, honestly, you know?
You just do what you love.
I just do what I love, and yeah, of course, when, you know, just the recent events, right? When collabing with Marsh on Fulfillment, you know, when he asked me the question, like, can you just, you know, please bring in your Ferry beats and the way you do your bass lines and stuff, you know? And I work with Silver City on Chaos, and Alan Fitzpatrick says, like, man, your old System F sound, you know, that's, yeah, you know, when you hear stuff like that from your peers or the guys that you work with, you look up to as well, you're like, oh, that's cool, you know? Yeah. But it's not like, oh, that particular thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Difficult to name just one.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I'm just proud that, and I'm just very thankful, you know, about my whole career.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here still doing what I love. And I'm thinking, if we, you know, we're mentioning like 25 years, 30 years and those type of numbers, like, fuck, that's how long I've been doing this already, you know? It's insane.
Yeah, that's true.
If you would have told younger Ferry, like, this is what you're going to be saying in an interview then and then and then, I would have pinched myself. Yeah, for sure. Like, no, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
And the last question, what's the secret for having the best hair in the industry?
I don't know, man. Just wash it with raw soap. That's it. No products.
I mean, like, every once in a while, you see, like, on social media, you see, like, people commenting on your hair.
Yeah. I've seen that, yeah. Maybe we should just come up with, like, a hair product, you know? The app logo.
Yeah.
No. New merchandise.
Yeah, never say never.
Never say never. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just, it is what it is. Maybe, yeah. My dad's still full hair. My mom's still full hair. So I guess on the hair part, I've got good genes.
Well, thanks a lot for your time and good luck with everything.
Thanks, man.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, my interview with Ferry Corsten and the story behind Air by Albion. Ferry, thanks a lot for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. And in case you missed it, I did a few other interviews with Ferry about tracks such as Out of the Blue, Gouryella and Carte Blanche. You can find links to those interviews in the video description as well, so make sure to check them out. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye!